Welcome to the Robin Graham Show, the podcast for purpose-driven women who want to achieve sustainable success without having to be on social media. Hey, beautiful friends. Welcome to this episode of the Robin Graham Show. I am here today with a special guest, IngaFay Cavitt, and you're going to hear me refer to her as IngaFay. I just think that has such a lovely ring, and she's a beautiful, beautiful person. So I'm really excited to have her join me today and share this topic. We are going to talk all about being introverted, but how, as an introvert, you can dominate sales. Uh, two separate things, really, right? So being an introvert can be its own challenge, especially
Right.
in the marketplace, especially when we're business owners. And then you talk about sales, and it's almost like shut down. At least for me as an introvert, it's like sales, wait, no, I can't do that. So I'm really excited to bring this conversation to you. And what I'm going to do is link in the show notes a couple of other episodes as well. So make sure, everybody, that you go to the show notes because I talked to Tara Reid probably a year or so ago, and she talked all about marketing as an introvert. So today we're going to hit sales as an introvert, and then there will also be other episodes I'll link related to sales strategies as well. So by the time you're finished going down this rabbit hole of learning, you will have sales mastered. So
Mhm.
without further ado, Inga Faye, welcome to the Robin Graham Show.
Thank you for having me, Robin. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I love getting to meet people from all over the place. You're from Mobile, Alabama, which is pretty cool. I actually, in my corporate career, had visited there for work. So I have this vision of where you're located, but it's fun to
Yes,
have
yes,
somebody from
yes.
Alabama on the show because I don't know that we've had anybody else from Alabama on the show that I can think of off the top of my head. So welcome.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. Actually, I'm originally from Virginia. I
Okay.
moved down here as a result of my corporate job. So,
I'll be darned. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, well, with that said, please tell us a little bit about your journey to get to where you are today. Because I know you didn't start in sales.
No, I didn't. I didn't start in sales. I am a mechanical engineer by training. I actually worked in a chemical plant for over 21 years. And about 5 years ago, I got laid off. And at that time, it was kind of a line in the sand. What was I going to do? I had started a direct sales business that I was really loving. And the whole reason that I started that was because I was in a male-dominated type of field, and I didn't really have a whole bunch of girlfriends. So it was just a way of connecting with some positive, encouraging women in that business. So I had aspirations. I always had this in the back of my mind of what if I could do this entrepreneurship on a full-time basis. So when I got laid off, like I said, that was my line in the sand, and I decided that I was going to actually pursue my entrepreneur dream more so than going off and looking for another corporate job. So that's really how, I mean, I was already doing the entrepreneur thing on a part-time basis, but the full-time came in effect when I did leave my job. So that's how it started. And then it was right around COVID, and everybody was doing something different. I had a lot of mentors that I was connecting with that happened to be extroverts that were telling me all of their tricks and tips on how to grow my direct sales business. But when COVID happened, I mean, everybody was just like at ground zero trying to figure out what they were going to do next. So I'm really grateful for that because it really allowed me to use my problem solving skills as an engineer to kind of figure out how I was going to navigate this new space that I was in. And that's really when I discovered, hey, I'm an introvert. And these things that my upline and other mentors have been telling me are not really in line with what I feel good about. So now is definitely the time for me to kind of tread the way and figure out how I'm going to do this differently that's really authentic to me. So that's how it started.
That's amazing. And so tell us what you're doing now. You're helping other introverts improve their sales processes.
Right. Other female, my target market is females.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really looking for female entrepreneurs in the coaching and service provider space that are looking for innovative ways to grow their business using their introverted innate gifts to generate leads and have a sales process that will allow them to build a prosperous business without small talk. because I know
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we like to do.
No,
So
it's exhausting, right?
exactly it is. Energy draining.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, so one thing that stood out to me is that you like connection.
Yes,
And I think sometimes people think that introverts are just living in a silo and that's how they like it, but we actually do love connection.
we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm going to
Well,
link. Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I just wanted to clarify what an introvert is because I know oftentimes people have these myths of what we are, saying things like we're antisociable, we can't be a leader, we can't be an entrepreneur, we don't like to talk to people, all of that thing. That is not what an introvert is. So, first and foremost, I would definitely want to clarify what an introvert is. And an introvert is a person that recharges themselves by themselves.
Hmm.
They love solitude. That's how they recharge. Where an extrovert is somebody that gets energy by being around a whole bunch of people. So we don't have to be shy. Introverts are not necessarily shy. However, we could be shy. We're not antisociable. We're not depressed. We just are in, we're just inside of ourselves. That's really,
Hmm.
we're in sync with our inner being, is what I would say, more
Hmm.
so than what's going on outside of what's outside of us,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
extroverts are. So that is really the key. So
Yeah.
different things about me going up and just kind of talking to somebody off the cuff, like I was taught in direct sales, was not something that I would normally do. I did it, but I never felt good about what I was doing. It kind of gave me an icky feeling. I didn't feel like I
Hmm.
was really being true to myself.
Hmm.
So I think, and I know it's not even I think, I know that that ingenuous energy was coming off because I wasn't truly being Inga. It was
Hmm.
somebody else that I was being, but not being true to myself.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I've discovered that as well. And sometimes it's, if you haven't had that time as an introvert to recharge, if you haven't had downtime, it
Yep,
can be very tiring and you don't bring the energy that you would normally bring along
exactly.
with you when you're meeting people. So it is really important for us as introverts to give us ourselves the grace to recharge. And the way we recharge can be, it could be sitting on the sofa reading a book, it could be going
Yep,
for a walk, but it's that
yep,
downtime to really just reconnect with ourselves. So I
exactly.
think that it's great that you described that, but I think the important thing too is that this connection piece is critical for anyone to succeed. And I am going
Exactly.
to link in the show notes an episode I did with Cassie Kitzmiller just recently, and we talked all about how we can multiply our business and our successes through our connections. And I
Yes,
like that you focus on helping people who are introverted be able to build those connections authentically and in a way
yes,
that helps them maintain their energy
yep,
and still be able to achieve, but in their own unique way.
exactly. You're
Yeah.
spot on. You're spot on.
Yeah.
Yes, that is, it was, again, like I said, that was what I figured out in my time during COVID because I didn't have anybody else to talk to about it because, like I said, everybody was scrambling. So when it comes to interacting with people, granted, I can get and I can talk on a stage, I can do a podcast, I can do those kind of things, but I know that after I do it, I have to give myself that recharge time to be able to replenish the energy that I just expended. And then
Hmm.
also I know that when it comes to building my business, that I do better on a one-on-one basis, interacting with people after I get off the stage and I've had that time to recharge. So I can build that genuine connection with people and then come from a place of service more so than just trying to get the sale. Because I'm
Hmm.
sure all of us have had those calls. We get the calls every day, somebody calling us about some special deal that they got going on with one of the service providers that we have, or if we're on social media, people getting in our DMs telling us how they can help us make $20,000 in 90 days
Hmm.
with their formula. We're always being hit with all of these things about sales, but at the end of the day, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
So it's really important, and that's one of the things that I teach my community is that you gotta have time to build that relationship first and then really come from a place of service And people can feel that in genuine when you're being genuine like that.
Oh, yeah,
And in business.
absolutely. And it really does. I think, if you are an introvert, trying to not be an introvert goes
Right.
completely off of your personal brand. And when that happens, we create confusion. And
Yes.
so it really is important to stay true to who you are in that authentic person. So whether extrovert or introvert, but today we're talking about introverts, but truly being who you are and representing yourself as
As your
your
true
unique
self.
self, your true
Exactly.
self, but knowing that you have to set those parameters that, okay, I have this at this time today. So I know after that, I'm going to need a little bit of break. I can revive myself and then I can come back and step back into who I am and who I'm called to be. So
Exactly.
tell us, Inga, about some of your strategies for being able to build these relationships and step out into sales to effectively sell through this relationship building.
Yeah, so one of the things I've created a safe haven for the introverts that live here in my local area through a networking event that's actually called Network Like an Introvert. And it allows us to get together for about an hour and interact with each other, just get to know one another. So I'm coaching them, I'm helping them to prepare their one-liner. Oftentimes when people come into networking events, they have a tendency to tell people their position. I'm a business strategist, right? But they never really tell people like what they do, who they serve, and how they serve them, which is
Mm-hmm.
very imperative because when you know your target market and you know the transformation that you're going to give people and how you're going to give it to them, and you introduce yourself that way, then it instantaneously helps people to think about people in their inner circle that you could potentially serve. So
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes more of a collaborative type of conversation. Well, I know somebody that would definitely need your services because it's coming off the cuff more so than just coming in and saying, oh, well, I'm a business strategist. Because no one really is going to come to mind because you haven't told me who you serve, what you do, how you're going to help them, and then the kind of and what the method is that you're going to do for them to get to their desired promised land. So I think that's really imperative, first and foremost, to have that one liner in place. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the first things that I teach the group when they come in there is that you got to have your one liner so people will know exactly what you do. So you're starting off the bat to really be able to make that connection because if you go in saying something about a business strategist or kind of just something generic, that's where the small talk comes in. When you come in saying exactly what you do, I think it leads to more of an effective type of conversation where it comes into more problem solving because that's more of what introverts like to talk about, how they can help people and solve problems than just talking about, the weather and the game last night.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it leads the conversation to be more focused. So that would definitely be one of the first things that I do to help people to interact and build that connection.
Mm-hmm. And I would
Another
think
thing,
that,
go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, I was just going to add to that, that I think that when you step into a networking environment, having confidence as you're going in is very, very important. And
Oh yeah.
doing this, having this preparation of exactly what you do, who you serve, how you serve them, the results they're going to get, whatever it is you do, having that front and center and being able to speak that confidently is key, I
Oh
think.
yeah. Hmm.
Because if
I
we're
would,
if
I would,
if we can't say it and we can't describe that, we're going to leave people in question, and then we're going to have to dig deeper whenever it comes time to answer those questions.
right, right.
Yeah.
The prep work is definitely necessary for you
Yeah.
to get the desired results. And another thing that I also teach and recommend that people do is that you want to know what is your intention. Are you going in looking for collaboration partners? Are you going in looking for clients? Are you going in looking for prospects? Knowing what your intention is while you're there is very important as well. The confidence is going to definitely come in from the preparation. The you are confident when you act. You have to make the action, do the thing that you're scared about, and then know that over it's gonna be a process over time. I think so many times people think I'm just gonna be the best starting off that you have to realize that you're gonna everybody goes in the beginning on something that they've not done or as
Hmm.
something new to them that you have to give yourself grace to, but the only way that you're going to get better is to keep doing it. So it's like you got to act, and then you got to do it and can iterate it. It's an iterative type of process, and then from the iterative type of process, then you're going to eventually tweak and then get the results that you want. But you can't just act one time and just be the best and then think everything's going to be wonderful, because it doesn't work that way. And just really
Yeah.
being able to put yourself out there to make those connections is very important. Very.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it really comes down to relationship marketing. So you
Oh
you
yeah.
you step into this place, you build the relationship, and then the sales come easy. So let's talk about how do you move these relationships into a sale?
Right. So the next thing I think very common, I heard this from some people in my community here recently. It was like, well, Inga, I was thinking about what you told me, and I went to this networking event, and I just sat there and I didn't talk to anybody. And I was just like, what? But I could hear you in my head what you were telling me, but I didn't take the action. And I was like, yeah, so why didn't you take the action? And they, again, we were talking about they weren't prepared. But in addition to that, after you make the connection, you have your one-liner, then you want to be able to further develop the relationship. So it's kind of similar to what you're doing when you met your significant other. Did you just go out with them one time and instantaneously you married them the next day? No, you spent time with them. You took the time to get to know them. And I want to share one thing that definitely you want to make sure that you know the difference between is dating and courting your leads. When you date your leads, you're just kind of haphazardly doing it. It's no intention in it. And you're pretty much, going to talk to anybody that would talk to you. That's why I was talking about the intention, that you know that in the beginning so you can really know who you're looking for when you get there. But when you're courting somebody, you've probably already kind of decided on who you're looking for and what kind of attributes they have. You may be thinking about a certain client. Well, I'm looking for someone that's between the ages of 35 and 50 that are open to invest in themselves and help their business level up to the next level by making an investment in themselves with my coaching program. But you gotta have that intention. So when you go to the networking event, you meet the person, the next thing is to set up the next date, or that so you can get to know them better, so you can continue to develop that relationship. So the next step would be maybe a one-on-one type of meeting. It could be via Zoom or in-person coffee, where you're just talking to people, getting to know them, finding out what they are doing, what kind of business they have, and seeing how you can potentially help them. Because that's another thing that I've often seen as introverts we do, is that we'll go to a networking event and we'll try to talk to just that one person the whole time, when it's very important that we mingle and interact with other people while we're there. And having that decided on how many people that we're going to meet with before we even get there. So we know, okay, I am going to talk to 3 to 4 people tonight. And how am I going to get out of it? I'm going to say, "Oh, I see Susie Q over here. I'm going to go talk to her for a minute. It was great talking to you," and making sure you get that card so you can follow up with them later. But that's the kind of thing that we have to do when we're in that situation, and then being able to give ourselves the recharge time that maybe we did talk to somebody for 15 minutes and it really took a lot out of us. Why don't we go to the bathroom and maybe get, kind of collect ourselves before we go out and talk to the next person while we're there. So those are some of the strategies that you would want to use as an introvert that would allow you to, one, connect with people, build a relationship, and continue to build the relationship until it's something that could either provide you a client, someone that you could potentially collaborate with that has, someone that has the same target market as you, but you provide a different service, or someone that essentially becomes a client. And in that sequence, because if you meet with somebody that's a collaboration partner, that's going to continue to further your reach without even have to go on social media. That allows you to really get to know other people that you could serve, but that because you provide a different service, you guys are basically sharing your audience.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
those are kind of things you want to think about when you are interacting in a networking type of setting.
Hmm. And then, okay, so let's say we do all of those steps and we've really built this relationship. This person trusts us now and they're ready to move on, but
Right.
they're not sure they want to buy from us. How do you as an introvert navigate the sales process?
Right. So you have a nurture system. So it's not just your interaction with them. Maybe you are connecting with them on social media somehow, or you have an email list where you're nurturing them and they're getting to further know you. So it's not just the interaction the physical in-person interaction that you have with them. It's also a way of developing the relationship without you being there,
Right.
by having a nurture system that will introduce them to what you have and then ask for the sale that way via an email, or you can do it in person too, depending on you having webinars or different things like that. But again, it's still more dates for you interacting with them to actually convert into the sale.
So basically what you're saying is we're going to go through this process and things are going to basically sell themselves because we've built the relationship.
Right,
We've made the
exactly.
connections, we've built the trust, and now we can just kind of make their decision easy for them without
Right,
having to get on a sales call or without having to try to prove ourselves, which can
right.
be draining.
Yes, because you have this process of all of these different activities going on that allows them to be dating you the whole time, that you may not have to physically be there for, but in
Mm-hmm.
an effort to still get to know you through the process.
Mm-hmm. So this is where like email marketing would come in
Oh,
very
yeah.
handy. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you are on social media, obviously that as well. But I think anytime you can get someone in your email list and you
Yeah.
can stay
Oh,
front of
yeah.
mind, it's
Yes.
just
It's
it's
wonderful.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about the algorithm showing your post. You know that when you send the email out, you're sending it directly to them. And at that particular point, it's going to be up to them to decide whether they're going to look at it or not look at it. But you don't have to worry about, well, I got to post it at this certain time because I know this is when they're going to see it. And hopefully the algorithm is going to show it to the people that I want to show it to.
Hmm.
When you have your email list, you've already identified who your people are because they're
Hmm.
on your list. So then you're able to really, truly be able to continue to nurture that relationship even while not being there. And
Hmm.
then there's also platforms now that allow you to share your email list. So you can refer somebody to someone else's email list and build your email list that way. So it's kind of a collaborative type of process. Instead of like a podcast where you're doing an interview, people are recommending your email list to their list. So
Hmm.
you all are growing together. So
Hmm.
again, this is great for introverts because we don't have to have the interaction for this to happen. It's just it's in a written form, which is, our a happy place for us to be able to connect with people that way as well. And then you also have SEO that's going to really help you find your ideal client just by the mere words that you write in your blogs as well as
Hmm.
your website, that's going to attract the people that really truly want what you have. So it's not the fluff anymore of talking about the small talk. Your people are finding you because they know you can provide the solution to
Hmm.
help them get to their desired promised land because of the information that you've put in your blogs and your website. So when they come to you, they're coming directly for you to help them solve a problem. And
Hmm.
because of that, then you can well, I won't say instantaneously, but you will be able to develop that relationship better, easier
Hmm.
than it would be for somebody that doesn't know anything about you because of the way they found you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are so big on SEO here, just from the simple fact that it is the easiest way to get found by the masses
Yep.
compared to social media. So,
Yes.
and listeners, I'll put an episode in the show notes for that too. So you guys are going to have a plethora of opportunities to learn and expand, especially you introverts who really don't want to have to be on your game in person all the
Yeah.
time. These are
That's
great
right.
ways to have people find you and be able to connect in an authentic way without having the energy drain, so to speak. So,
Right.
Inga, this has been fabulous. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you, learn more about you or from you, and maybe even work with you?
Yeah. So you can find me on my website. It's ingafay.com. That's INGA.com. And I have the events that I was telling you about, the in-person events. If you guys happen to be within an hour radius of Mobile, Alabama, we would love to have you come out to our meetup. I have several different webinars that I do on a monthly basis that are on a virtual setting where you can come. So it doesn't matter where you live, we can interact with you that way. And then just the freebies and all of the checklists and things that will help further expand your business depending on what you want to do and how you want to do it, using LinkedIn as well as just email in general to help people learn more about you.
That's awesome. And so if I can put your your website address in the show notes and they'll be able to find everything there.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And listeners, if you found this information helpful, please leave us a rating and review and go give IngaFay some love as well. Check out her website and maybe even download one of her free resources that can help you really master this skill of networking for introverts. And if you'd be so kind to leave a rating and review, as you know, that's how we can continue to get great guests like IngaFay and how we can reach more people and create that ripple effect of good in the world. So thanks everyone for being here, and I will see you all next week. And that's a wrap, friends. A heartfelt thank you for being here. I know there are many other ways that you could spend your time, so I truly appreciate you joining me. And be sure and visit the website, therobingraham.com/resources for a plethora of resources to help you grow your business for long-term success.